Good afternoon. You're looking live over Highway 63. It's Friday, April 8th. Here's what's making news right now.
Time is ticking with a midnight deadline for a government shutdown.
That could mean no pay or no work for several local federal workers.
And an early morning fire leaves one dead. KOMU 8 News First at 5 starts now.
Live from Studio 8A, coverage you can count on in high definition. This is KOMU 8 News First at 5.
Still no budget agreement in Washington, D.C., and there's a disagreement on why there's no agreement. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jem Reek.
And I'm Hillary Mullen. Despite almost around-the-clock negotiations, there's no deal yet. That means the government could shut down tonight. For the latest developments on what's keeping a deal from being made, let's take it over to KOMU 8's Olivia Wilmson for your First Nation report.
Well, Hillary and Jim, the deadline is just 7 hours away, and both sides are optimistic a compromise can be reached, but right now there's still a lot of finger pointing. This morning, Washington Republican House Speaker John Boehner said the biggest issue still standing in the way is spending cuts.
There's only one reason that we do not have an agreement as yet, and that issue is spending. We're close to a resolution on the policy issues, but I think the American people deserve to know, when will the White House and when will Senate Democrats get serious about cutting spending?
Senate Democratic leader Harry Reid said negotiators have agreed to $38 billion in spending cuts, but a fight over federal dollars for Planned Parenthood is blocking a deal.
They can keep their word and significantly cut the federal deficit, or they can shut down America's government over women's access to health care.
Without an agreement by midnight, the government won't have a budget to operate. Hillary?
Thanks, Olivia. A partial government shutdown could affect millions of Americans as 800,000 federal workers may be told to stay home. But some soldiers don't have a choice. KOMU 8's Nicole Najolek joins us here in the studio. Nicole, what impact will this have on soldiers and veterans?
Hillary, I spoke with a sergeant at the Mizzou ROTC, and he told me, pay or no pay, him and the soldiers in the Middle East will still be serving. But he says it's a burden their families shouldn't have to face. A showdown could affect soldiers both past and present. VA Mortgage hands out loans to veterans. They told me they took action earlier this week to clear loans that have to go through government agencies. But that would only work for about 2 or 3 weeks.
The majority of the things we do, it's a government program. Another impact is government workers. If they're not working, it's going to be hard to get pay stubs, things like that, all requirements of a mortgage loan.
A short shutdown wouldn't affect VA Mortgage too much, but anything longer than 2 weeks might cause a secondary ripple and jeopardize the livelihood of the people that issue loans.
Took a little while longer for those clouds to move on out early this morning, but that sun has been shining throughout the afternoon, helping those temperatures to warm right on up. Here's a look at live Doppler 8 First Alert radar as we are scanning the Midwest. You'll notice some light precipitation starting to form out by Wichita, and that is moving on into the Kansas City area. Eventually, we'll see some showers, maybe a few rumbles of thunder overnight tonight, very similar to what you may have woken up to this past morning. We bottom out at 60 degrees to start your Saturday. More details on what you can expect as we head towards that weekend. That's coming up.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. A fire this morning in Macon killed 1 and injured 3 others. The fire department received the call about 2 o'clock in the morning that a 6-unit apartment building on North Ruby Street was on fire. Investigators have not determined the cause of the fire.
The fire originated in the ground floor apartment, and all the other apartments had smoke damage.
Division of Fire Safety is investigating. The Red Cross is providing help to the residents from the building. They may come back as early as next Tuesday. A scary situation today as a gas leak closed a child learning center in Columbia. In this first local report, KOMU 8's Tara Grimes joins us live in Columbia with the details. Tara?
When parents showed up to the Child Learning and Development Center this morning, this is the sign that they found. It says that the center is closed due to a carbon monoxide gas leak. Now, last night, the Columbia Fire Department responded to a call from 2 of the managers here. After some investigating, the emergency responders determined a furnace in one of the classrooms to be the cause of the leak. They advised the managers to call a heating and cooling company before opening back up the school.
Had this been left to continue, however, with doors open in the building and then natural ventilation and such, certainly carbon monoxide could have spread throughout the entire building. In this particular case, the good news is they had detection devices present.
Children were not exposed to the carbon monoxide. The center should be open back up on Monday. Reporting live in Columbia, Tara Grimes, KOMU 8 News.
All right, thanks, Tara. The Missouri River Bridge bicycle and pedestrian attachment opened in Jefferson City today. Mid-Missourians, along with state and local officials, celebrated the completion of the addition with a ribbon-cutting ceremony. The 8-foot-wide bridge attachment has 2 lookout points with a view of the state capitol building. The construction also added a ramp on the north side of the river that allows access to the Katy Trail. One bicyclist says the biggest benefit of the new attachment is safety.
There was a marking on the roadway. There was nothing to prevent debris being picked up from semis or from other vehicles and being tossed up at you.
Before the attachment, walkers and bike riders had to walk or ride their bikes in a small area along the side of Highway 54. The bridge construction cost $6.7 million.
Governor Nixon announced today Missouri will receive a $250,000 grant to redesign curriculum at 4-year state universities.
Nationwide, 600 applicants applied for the grant, and of the 29 selected, Missouri was one of the chosen. KOMU 8's Jessica Hawley is live outside the University of Missouri with more on the grant. Jessica, how will this grant help improve universities here in Missouri?
Well, the biggest way it's going to impact 4-year state universities like here at the University of Missouri is by redesigning the curriculums to incorporate technology into it. Governor Nixon today said that the redesign of the curriculum will not only improve student learning, but it will also allow for Missouri schools to work together in a new way. And the 4-year universities will also share their course material with Missouri's community colleges. In addition to the grant money, universities, the state, and the Department of Higher Education are also adding money to supplement the funds.
We're looking forward to being able to seize this opportunity to infuse even more technology into the classroom, because that makes us even more capable of reaching and teaching the digital native, because we're going to have to do that to really prepare for the skill sets and jobs of the future in the 21st century.
In all, 13 universities here in Missouri will benefit from this grant, as well as 21 community colleges. Reporting live in Columbia, Jessica Hawley, KOMU 8 News.
All right, thanks, Jessica.
More from the crisis in Japan after yesterday's aftershock, and thousands of protesters in Cairo now have new demands. KOMU 8's Stacey Welsh has these stories and more in your First World Report.
Thanks, Hillary. Yesterday's strong aftershock in northern Japan damaged another nuclear power plant. Water leaked out of spent fuel pools at the Onagawa nuclear plant, but officials say there was no change in the radiation levels outside the plant. A top Japanese official also announced today that the government plans to lift sales restrictions on certain foods grown in areas around the damaged Fukushima nuclear plant. A familiar scene in Egypt as protesters crowded into Cairo's Tahrir Square today. However, this time, the protesters called for those who belong to Mubarak's regime to stand trial for corruption and the deaths of demonstrators during the revolution. A former member of parliament from the Muslim Brotherhood said these people symbolized corruption. France will start enforcing a ban on wearing full Islamic veils next week. France passed the ban last year, and officials say the law is mainly symbolic. The ban forbids wearing any garment that conceals the face in public. Those who violate the ban face a $216 fine. And that's your First World Report.
The average price of gas in Missouri is up to $3.60 a gallon. Drivers are doing what they can to get more for their money. Several Columbia Auto Service and parts shops say they've seen more customers looking for ways to improve their gas mileage. Tire rotation, new air filters, fuel injectors, and regular oil changes are the best ways to get more miles per gallon.
I came in and got air filter, changed oil, fuel filter, et cetera, and actually changed a fuel filter seemed to help my truck the most, probably a good 30 or 40 miles to a tank. People don't realize it, but a simple change like that and an air cleaner makes a heck of a lot of difference.
This time of year, it's also important to switch your car's winter tires that cause extra drag and use more gas for summer tires.
The newest diet is said to perform miracles. How Asian noodles are shrinking waistlines.
And a new contagious study will leave you scratching for more.
Showers and thunderstorms look to build in during your overnight hours, and we will see them come back for your weekend. I'll have details on what you can expect after this break.
And you're looking live over the Lake of the Ozarks. This is KOMU 8 News First at 5. Coverage you can count on.
You are taking a live look out over Columbia Regional Airport in high definition, where we do have a few clouds floating out there high up in the sky. Other than that, we've seen a lot of sunshine, and that sunshine is sure here through the 60s, and then another round moving in for Wednesday on into Thursday. Don't forget, if you're looking for something to do this weekend, tomorrow will be a perfect day to go out and enjoy the 17th annual Corvette Cup. That will benefit the Central Missouri Dream Factory, and it's going to go on tomorrow at the Quality Inn Hotel off Providence and I-70 here in Columbia. And Doppler Dave will be there.
Still polishing?
Yes, still polishing.
the
I was
car.
talking to him today, and he's got like 10 coats on that thing.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. This is a story we've been itching to tell you about.
That's right. And it's research that could catch on. That's coming up in a Your Health Report. We're back with a look at the truths behind a so-called miracle food, or more specifically, a miracle noodle. A lot of folks are snapping up these Japanese miracle noodles online to lose inches. Nutritionists say the weight loss benefit these noodles pack can do wonders for your waistline. The miracle noodle is also gluten and soy free. The noodles are made out of an Asian root or tuber that dates back more than 2,000 years. Restless leg syndrome, jokingly called the Jimmy legs on Seinfeld, is no laughing matter, according to new research. Researchers studied nearly 600 patients with restless leg syndrome. They found those who kicked the most in their sleep were more likely to have thick hearts and were more likely to have suffered a heart problem or have died 3 years later. We know it's nearly impossible to stifle a yawn after watching someone else do it, but researchers wanted to see if the same thing was true for itching. They recruited 14 healthy volunteers and 11 patients with dermatitis. They applied histamine to their forearms to make them itch, or saline, which had no effect. Then they watched videos of people scratching, and they found the people watching the videos of people itching made the subject scratch more, even if they were giving saline. Welcome back. With the start of spring, some spring cleaners are looking for a way to get rid of all their unwanted items.
Right. KOMU 8's Lauren Holman has more on where you can drop the things off and help those in need.
Members and volunteers are working to collect unwanted items for Broadway Christian Church's 23rd annual Habitat for Humanity garage sale. For the past 2 days, volunteers have been sorting, hanging, and pricing donated items. Dixie Fisher says it's hard to know exactly how many volunteers help out, but she estimates they have about 250 helpers.
And we have to, because we get more and more stuff every year, so we have to have that extra help.
And it's the extra help that allows for this event to grow year after year.
We started in 1989. Dixie Fisher was the chairman then, and they made around $1,800. This is the 23rd annual Habitat Garage Sale, and last year we made around $18,000.
Tomorrow shoppers can find anything from clothes to hats to even a lawnmower. The doors will open at 8 a.m. and not a minute before. Fisher says workers will need all the time they can get to make sure they're ready for all the shoppers.
I know that when we open the doors at 8 o'clock, there's a stream of people coming in for about 5 to 10 minutes, and it's constant until we close.
Any item that goes unpurchased will be donated to more than 20 different agencies across mid-Missouri. Lauren Holman, KOMU 8 News, Columbia.
Once again, the garage sale is 8 until 2 tomorrow at Broadway Christian Church. All proceeds benefit Habitat for Humanity.
Welcome back. Here's a recap of my 8-day extended forecast. The weekend looking pretty interesting. Should be mostly dry tomorrow with that sunshine, maybe an isolated storm or two, but Sunday, the real story begins.
Alrighty, musicians from Shanghai performed Chinese folk songs for Columbia students today. Concert was part of the Confucius Institute at Mizzou. Musicians played traditional folk music and taught the audience about their instruments. MU's School of Music also performed. The concert sparked students' interest in Chinese culture.
Coming up on KOMU 8 News at 6, severe weather alerts can cut into your favorite TV program. But in tonight's Your View, we take a look at why we feel it's important to show you when a strong storm could be headed your way.
That's coming up at 6. We'll see you then.